Have you ever noticed that the moment you decide to go silent and take control, your own feelings seem to turn against you? A baseless anxiety, a sudden sadness, or an inexplicable urgency to do anything except remain in silence. This is not a failure on your part. It is the resistance of your old operating system. Your ego is used to driving your vehicle through drama and reaction. When you start to ignore the external mirror, the matrix activates its final resource, the internal mirror. If the world outside cannot shake you, the system tries to shake you from the inside out. It uses your own brain chemistry to create artificial storms. Your mistake was believing that because you feel something, that something is real or yours. The truth is that most of your feelings are just echoes of software that doesn't want to be updated. To hear your inner silence, you must learn the art of being an indifferent observer of your own chaos. But this is the part no one tells you. A feeling only has power over you as long as you identify with it. When you say, "I am sad," or "I am anxious," you merge with the frequency and hand over the command of your essence to the emotion. You stop being the author and go back to being the character. The system loves it when you try to fix your feelings because while you are busy trying to understand why you feel bad, you are not emitting your new code. You are stuck in the processing of emotional junk. Real reality is the silence that exists behind the emotion. Feeling is just the weather, your essence is the sky. The sky doesn't try to fix the storm, it simply allows it to pass while remaining immutable. And here is where it gets dangerous. If you don't learn to ignore the noise of your own feelings, you will never hear the sapience of silence. The voice of your essence is subtle, cold, and direct. It doesn't scream. It doesn't beg. It doesn't use drama. However, the voice of your emotional system is loud, urgent, and full of whys. The architect uses this urgency to pull you out of point zero. He wants you to believe you need to feel something for the command to be real. But the truth is the opposite. The most powerful command is issued from absolute neutrality. To access the next level of reality engineering, you must become a master at ignoring yourself. You need to learn to sit in the middle of the emotional fire without getting burned, focused only on the pulse of silence that dictates the law of your new life. If you are tired of being tossed back and forth by your own emotions and are ready to take control of your internal system, leave a like. This signals to your own subconscious that the era of drama is over. Subscribe to Wake. Here we don't heal feelings, we transcend them to access reality engineering. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of command. You need to understand how the system hacks your silence. When you emit a new reality code, your ego, which is the matrix's local terminal within you, panics. It begins to project scenarios of fear and doubt, not because they are real but because fear is the reset frequency. You know that tightness in your chest that arises right after you visualize your new life? The system wants you to interpret that tightness as intuition or a warning. It wants you to think, if I'm feeling bad, it's because something is wrong. This is a technical lie. That discomfort is just the friction of the new code being installed over the old hardware. It's like the heat a processor generates when running software that's too heavy for it. If you stop the process because you felt the heat, you never complete the installation. You must learn to feel the doubt and the guilt without giving them the status of truth. They are just noise on the line. Let them play in the background while you keep your finger on the command button. Here is the practical protocol the system fears most: conscious dissociation. The next time an emotional wave of despair or urgency hits you, do not try to fight it. Fighting a feeling gives it the importance of a real enemy. Instead, use sovereign indifference. Say to yourself, a feeling of anxiety is being processed right now. Notice the difference? You are not anxious. There is a process of anxiety occurring in your physical body. You become the observer looking at the storm through a reinforced window. When you remove the I from the sentence, the system loses the connection. Emotion is like a phone call from the matrix. It only completes the circuit if you answer and start talking. If you just let the phone ring until it goes to voicemail, the energy of that emotion is not injected into your reality. You save your emotional IP for what truly matters, sustaining your silence. How do you distinguish the sapience of the essence from emotional noise? It is a matter of texture and speed. The ego's voice is fast, loud, repetitive, and always based on what if. It needs to convince you. It uses arguments, memories of past failures, and projections of future catastrophes. It is hot and unstable. The voice of your essence, the sapience of silence, is cold. It is a certainty that needs no explanation. It doesn't debate. It just knows. It is like a computer terminal command, neutral, direct, and absolute. To hear it, you must turn down the volume of the emotional radio. The architect keeps you addicted to internal drama because he knows that as long as you are listening to the noise, you won't hear the coordinates for your escape. Your job is not to calm the mind, it is to become so indifferent to the noise that it loses the power to distract you. Inner silence is not something you create, it is something you discover when you stop paying attention to the screams of your old software. There is a specific moment when the system gives up on trying to control you through feeling. It is the moment you stop fighting the storm and become the storm itself. When doubt arises and you do not feed it with attention, it dies of starvation. Understand this, your internal noise is like a shadow. If you try to punch the shadow, you get tired and the shadow remains. But if you turn on the light of your essence through silence, the shadow simply ceases to exist. The collapse of noise happens when you realize that peace is not something you achieve, it is something you impose. You don't wait for the mind to go quiet to command. You command and the mind goes quiet due to an absolute lack of audience. The architect only has power over those who are noisy inside. Silence is the ultimate encryption of your native code. In silence, the system cannot read your intentions, and without reading, there is no counterattack. Now visualize your internal command center. Behind all your fears, desires, and memories, there is a space of pure observation. It is cold, vast, and immutable. This is your point zero. From now on, every time the world or your ego tries to drag you into drama, you will return to this space. You won't ignore feelings like someone fleeing, but like someone governing. You will look at your anxiety and say, I see the process, but I sustain the command. When you inhabit the silence, the delay time, the mirror's delay, begins to decrease drastically. Why? Because you stopped creating interference. The signal of your essence is now clean, constant, and absolute. You are no longer a battery for the simulation. You are the operator about to unplug the power source of your own suffering. If you are ready to stop listening to the noise and start listening to the command, leave a like. This is your first act of sovereignty over your internal system. Subscribe to Wake. We are clearing the frequency for what comes next. And today, let's seal this new state in the comments. Don't explain anything, don't tell your story, don't feed the drama. Just write. Silence is command. By doing this, you inform the matrix that the noise reception channel has been closed. You are no longer available for emotional harvest. The noise is over. The distraction has been deleted. What remains is you. And you are enough. Stop listening to what you feel. Start listening to what you know. The command is yours. Silence is your weapon. I am the silence. Welcome to Wake.